joined by New England Hockey Conference Commissioner Katie Boldvich here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Katie, for those people who don't know, you've been involved with this conference for a lot longer than just the 1 year that it's been around. You were working with the ECAC East in an administrative position. How long have you been associated with this conference for some of the fans at home, and why did you want this position when it became available? It was sort of the idea in the back of a lot of administrators' minds, and then it became a reality last fall.
Yeah, it's been a great transition. I've been involved with this group. This is my 4th hockey season, so already off to a great start. I'm very fortunate to work with such great coaches and administrators, like you said. And quite honestly, the reason I wanted to come back and serve in the New England Hockey Conference role was for the people. Our group of coaches is great. Some have been there for quite a long time, like Jamie and Peter, both coaches tonight. And I enjoy the teams, the programs, the history, and just what a great league this really is.
Now, this came as a surprise to some people around Division III hockey when the ECAC East became the NEHC literally at the beginning of last season. I think it was actually opening day. How much behind-the-scenes work was going on to make sure that it happened really on that day and to make it official, coming out with the branding and everything, and what were some of the challenges that went along with that?
Yeah, there were quite a few hurdles and challenges, as you can imagine, just because especially the history that a lot of these schools had with the ECAC. So I think that decision to move forward and rebrand themselves wasn't taken lightly. And there were a lot of decisions that came to make that transition. So we went through a whole rebranding process, came up with a new conference name, a new logo, which I will give a shout out to Babson's head cross country coach. He actually designed our logo, Russ Brennan. He's amazing and did a really good job with it. And then of course our new league website, which looks amazing. And the folks, they're associated with College Hockey Stats that actually run our website. So it looks great, and everything that's on College Hockey Stats gets driven to the site. And it's great for all of our fans, alumni, and student athletes alike to keep up with what's going on in the league.
Now, you're not only the conference commissioner of the NEHC, you also are the conference commissioner of the football conference here in New England. You're associated with sailing. What made you want to be an administrator, and why New England, why hockey, football, all these things, and what has being a conference commissioner of other conferences helped you to maybe add to this conference or maybe change in your vision of what you wanted for this conference?
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey for me. I worked in TV for 5 years before I transitioned into athletic administration, and I got back into it coaching at my alma mater. And I just really enjoy working with different coaches, groups, serving the student athletes, serving the programs and institutions, and making sure that these kids get the best possible collegiate experience they can get. So like you mentioned, I work for U.S. Rowing as well and work with their collegiate division, which is really exciting. And I think the biggest thing that keeps bringing me back, like I said before, is the people. I enjoy building relationship and making memories and knowing that making a difference or an impact for good experiences for the student athletes.
Now, this year was a little bit different. Back in 2014, you saw 3 teams from this conference make it here to Fenway, but you also saw a lot more games. There was a NESCAC men's game. What does it mean that it's the NESCAC, it's the NEHC here, there's no MASCAC, there's no CCC? What does that mean in terms of really branding for this conference, but also for just getting a chance to show it off on the national stage? This rivalry, obviously one of the bigger ones in the conference, Norwich, Babson, Norwich, UMass, Boston, and even NEC, Skidmore, those 2 teams obviously have really made an impact in this year's standings. Even Southern Maine has a couple of big upsets as well.
Yeah, I think for the conference, it's nice to be recognized, like you said, on the national level, because myself, the coaches, the administrators, we always like to think we're one of, if not the best team in or league in Division III hockey. And I think coming here with the women's NESCAC schools really does say a lot about where our league is held in regards to the opinion of people that are making these decisions about who gets to go on the ice to represent Division III men's hockey. So I think it's great. The league as a whole should feel good about it. And like you said, top to bottom, we're really strong this year. I think the strongest we've been in several years. There's not much parity between 1st and 7th. And I think that speaks a lot to the programs that all of our coaches are building in this conference.
Now, this conference, just like pretty much all of college athletics, there's some realignment, there's some shifting. First off, you have the Division IIs being given their exit papers for good reason from the Division III side. those games don't reflect as much in terms of getting an at-large bid. And then University of New England aligning themselves with their conference for all their other sports. So we've seen 3 teams exit. I know that you can't get too much into the nitty-gritty, but how much conversation is there, and when can we expect to potentially get any kind of announcements on some of the teams that might be looking to join the conference, at least on the men's side? The women's side still has a little bit of extra padding with so many teams, 14 to start with.
Yeah, so we're making moves. I feel really confident about the steps that we're making to strengthen the conference and just make sure we solidify those AQs, which are so important for drawing members and recruiting and those kinds of things. So growing the conference certainly remains a priority. We've received a lot of interest in regards to other programs and institutions that are interested in joining our stellar group, and I expect that we'll have some news to share within the next month here about the future of the league for 2018-19 and beyond. I'm very excited.
Well,
you can't tell.
You heard it here first, because Babson has Katie in the second period, so we made sure to get the first period. So I know we're not going into any names here, but when you say a lot of interest, just a round number of potentially how many teams have applied to join. I've talked to Pete a little bit, but I'm not allowed to divulge that info.
Yeah, we'll just say we've had several. So we've had several inquiries, and we're in a really good place, I think, to make the best choice for our conference and what makes us a stronger, more unified group, and align us with like-minded institutions that are really committed to growing their men's hockey program and women's hockey programs.
Well, Katie, thanks so much for your
Always
time.
A pleasure. Thank you.
UMass Boston, I can speak for the men's hockey and women's hockey teams. I'm sure I can speak for the rest of the teams in the conference, as it's raining outside again. Peek outside and just see the weather conditions. We've really appreciated everything you've done in the past year, and we hope to see many more successful years under your leadership.